Welcome back to the 365 Daily Messages for You podcast.
Hello, everyone. Great to be with you again.
This is episode 47, and today we're calling it Unlock Your True Authentic Self.
That's a good one. And it really flows from our ongoing conversation, doesn't it? About living without fear and being, well, truly you.
Exactly. We're digging into self-awareness today, like where are you really standing right now, and how can you move towards what genuinely fulfills you?
Think of it as a kind of weekly spiritual energy forecast. We're looking at the energies around this week and offering some guidance, maybe some tools.
Practical tools, yeah, things you can actually use to make some positive changes.
And, last time we talked about changing costumes, those different personas we put on.
Oh yeah, that really seemed to land with people.
It did. Lots of feedback saying, wow, I didn't even realize I was doing that. So it makes today's topic feel even more necessary, really.
Definitely. So let's paint a picture. You know that person, maybe it's even you sometimes, who's like a total barracuda at work. Assertive, gets things done.
A real force.
But then maybe at home, they're completely different. Maybe a people pleaser, always trying to keep the peace, kind of avoids conflict.
Right. And the really powerful thing to grasp is that it's the same person. Those different behaviors are coming from one source.
Yeah, that's a key. It's not saying you need to be that work persona at home, not at all.
No, that would be weird.
Right. But it's about seeing, okay, that assertiveness I have at work, maybe I can use a little bit of that strength constructively in my personal life too.
And maybe that desire for harmony at home, that sensitivity, could actually be really helpful at work, in collaborating with people.
It's about owning all those parts, isn't it? Instead of feeling like you have to keep switching these costumes constantly. Because that's just not helpful long term.
And that brings us to labels like, oh, I'm an introvert or I'm type A.
We all do that.
We do. And look, knowing yourself, accepting who you are, that's absolutely the foundation. You need that starting point.
For sure. But sometimes we stop there, don't we?
Exactly. Knowledge and acceptance, they're just step one. And then comes building on the strengths, maybe transforming the weaknesses.
So this week, we're really focusing on how to be authentic because honestly, constantly playing those roles, switching those costumes, it's exhausting.
It really is. It drains so much energy, always reacting to what you think others need or expect from you.
We heard that a lot too. People saying, gosh, I wish I'd understood this years ago.
Well, it's never too late to start, right? It's a journey.
Absolutely. So let's talk about peace of mind. We're aiming for that sense of inner alignment.
Yeah, and it's maybe a bit different from just happiness or joy. Those things are great, obviously, and you can feel them without a specific spiritual path.
A peace of mind. That's deeper.
I think so. It's that feeling of being fundamentally okay, centered, even when life's throwing curveballs at you. Kids are going wild, bills are piling up, the sink's blocked again.
Usual chaos.
The usual chaos. It's not about the chaos disappearing, but about your state within the chaos.
Okay. And you mentioned ancient wisdom. How does that tie in?
Well, if you look at many ancient writings, they often describe the fundamental energy of the universe, the source, as something incredibly simple, like a pure, uncomplicated light.
Simple light. Okay.
And there's this profound lesson tucked in there.
Yeah.
Maybe our whole quest as humans is actually to get back to being simple.
Which is ironic because we tend to do the opposite, don't we?
We really do. We complicate things, create drama, get obsessed with all the external stuff.
So if that universal light is simple, then maybe we need to embody that simplicity more.
That seems to be the implication. And for anyone feeling pulled in a million directions, juggling roles, that idea of seeking inner simplicity can be like an anchor.
An anchor, I like that. That feeling that you want your inside and your outside to match up.
Exactly. That desire for congruence, wanting your actions to reflect how you actually feel.
So what are the practical tools for this week? You mentioned energy.
Yeah, energetically, this week is apparently quite supportive for connecting deeper within. And there's this powerful cosmic energy, something called restriction, or maybe better put, letting go consciously.
Restriction. That sounds restrictive.
Huh. It does, doesn't it? But it's not about suppressing yourself. Ancient wisdom talks about this simple, universal light, the source, holding all the answers, all the fulfillment, all the peace we're looking for.
And it's always available.
Always available. But often it feels like there's a veil, like a spiritual curtain, hiding it from us.
Okay, so if I'm feeling confused or need clarity.
The fact that you want clarity means the clarity itself exists. It's just behind that curtain.
And restriction is how we pull back the curtain.
It's a key tool, yeah.
Yeah?
It's not something typically taught in, mainstream self-help. It's more subtle.
So not suppression, What is it then?
It's about that moment. That moment an impulse hits you, maybe a reaction, a sudden urge, a feeling you have to say or do something right now.
Like getting defensive
Yes.
or wanting to lash out.
Exactly. Restriction is choosing, consciously, in that split second to pause, to create a little space between the trigger and your response.
So you're not just automatically reacting.
Precisely. You're choosing. You become the cause of your action, not just the effect of whatever happened externally.
Okay, let's make that concrete. Say someone says something challenging, and I feel that knot of fear or anger.
Right. The automatic thing might be to snap back, defend yourself, try to control the situation. Restriction is pause. Notice the feeling, notice the impulse. Then choose your response.
Choose it from that inner place, that connection to the light you mentioned.
That's the goal. In that moment of conscious choice, that's when you're being authentic. You're connecting to your deeper self, not just the surface reaction.
And that feeling of being drained we talked about?
Often comes directly from being constantly reactive.
Right.
Like from not making that conscious choice.
And sometimes drama just seems to follow those reactive moments.
It often does. When you react from that place of lack or fear, letting the outside world dictate your state, chaos can kind of creep in unexpectedly.
Right.
It's not about blame, just seeing the pattern.
Like when you just want to run away from a situation or a person.
That urge to withdraw or quit,
Mm-hmm.
often triggered by discomfort.
Which leads to a big question for this week then.
Yes. Who or what is controlling you? Emotionally, physically, in your career?
Mm.
What's really in the driver's seat?
Is it other people's expectations, old hurts, limiting beliefs about yourself?
All of those. And the consequence of letting those external things run the show, usually it's chaos or at least a lack of peace.
You could have a relationship, for example, that has real potential.
Right. But if one person is constantly letting the other person control how they feel, waiting for them to apologize, waiting for them to show love, waiting for them to change,
And you're stuck.
you're waiting.
Mm-hmm.
And in that waiting, you lose your control, your power, your authenticity. You lose that connection to your own inner light.
And you said this week's energy is good for looking at this.
Very supportive for reflecting on what needs strengthening, what needs transforming within you.
It's like, if you were a farmer, you'd want to know the weather patterns to plant effectively, right?
Great analogy. Knowing the energetic support helps you make changes more effectively. You're working with the flow, not against it.
Remember that business example? Reacting to a competitor.
Yes. You might launch a similar product, look successful on the outside.
But if the intention underneath was fear of falling behind that reactive energy can still create internal chaos, even with external success.
We see it all the time, don't we? People achieve amazing things externally, money, status.
But inside, they're anxious, stressed, no real peace.
Often it's because they've become controlled by those very things they were chasing.
So a simpler life, maybe fewer attachments. That means less potential for external control.
It can, yeah. Doesn't mean you have to live in poverty or anything, but it does mean constant self-checking as you acquire more work, relationships, stuff. Asking yourself, is this controlling me, or am I consciously choosing to connect with it?
Like a regular life audit.
Exactly. Audit your life regularly.
And what about comfort? That feels like a big controller sometimes.
Oh, comfort is huge. It's so powerful. We often choose comfort over growth, don't we?
Sticking with the easy option, the lateral move, instead of putting in the effort for something better.
Because real progress often involves discomfort, stretching yourself. And what needs shifting is different for everyone, of course.
So the prompt this week is really, what in my life feels out of alignment with who I really am deep down?
Yeah. Maybe you desire success, but you keep choosing comfort. Or you feel you have so much love to give, but you stay comfortably single because it feels safer.
It requires taking some quiet time, doesn't it, to really ask?
Definitely. Ask yourself, what do I really want? And what feels like it's in the way? And even if it seems like a person is in the way, maybe they're actually a challenge for your growth.
Could be. The catalyst.
And you see people actively looking for breakthroughs, feeling stuck.
Yes. And then others seem to achieve success without all the, spiritual tools. They just figure out the system.
But you're saying that second group maybe struggles to keep the fulfillment?
Often, yeah. They might lack the framework to handle the success without it creating more chaos or complexity. So actually for them, learning to take back control from external pressures becomes even more important after they succeed.
And clinging to comfort can block what you want, like wanting a relationship but being too afraid of getting hurt.
Exactly. The comfort of avoiding potential pain becomes stronger than the desire for connection. it's a block.
So how do we connect more with that true essence then?
The sources suggest our true essence really comes out when we're sharing, when we're giving.
Like that universal light you mentioned earlier, it's inherently giving.
Benevolent, giving, expanding. That's its nature. So the more we act like that, the more connected and fulfilled we feel. Which makes relationships super important, right? Not just romantic ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Partners, kids, community, colleagues, even strangers. Sharing with others, growing through those interactions, that's where we express our essence.
Think about times you've really shared or helped someone. You feel good, right?
You do. You feel happy, but also often realize, wow, I could do that. It pushes you out of your comfort zone and shows you what you're capable of.
And you mentioned committed partnerships specifically.
Yeah, there's something particularly potent about a nurtured long-term partnership. It can become like a central hub of positive energy.
How so?
When two people consciously work on creating peace at home, respecting each other, working through things together, it generates this incredibly positive energy. And often when home base is solid, other things just seem to fall into place more easily.
Makes sense. It's easy to look spiritual or put together out in the world.
Right. But home is where the rubber meets the road. It shows your spiritual cavities,
Yeah.
your imperfections.
Huh. Spiritual cavities. I like that. So the question is, how do you react when those show up? Get defensive.
Or do you see it as, okay, here's something for me to work on. If you just focus on the other person's cavities, you lose peace. You block your own transformation.
So if things feel chaotic externally, say in business, maybe look at home first.
It's often a really good place to start. Strengthening that home connection can bring so much positive energy that ripples outwards
So the goal is to act like that light, that giving force, especially in close relationships.
all the time, which is hard. We'll mess up.
Of course.
But the intention matters. And when your partner gives you feedback, instead of walls going up,
Try to embrace it. Welcome it.
yes, empowering them to share honestly, even if it's tough to hear, that's acting like the light. That's powerful.
So a really honest question for yourself this week. If I truly want light and peace at home or in any relationship, what am I doing that might be blocking it? Dimming that light.
And be honest. We all have blind spots. This week's energy helps bring clarity.
This might bring up insecurities, right? Feeling like you're not good enough as a partner, parent, whatever.
It might, and we often look outside for validation then, don't we? Wanting someone else to say, you're doing okay.
But that fix is only temporary.
Usually, yeah. The insecurity creeps back.
What about that negative inner voice? The one that beats you up?
Crucial point. That voice is not your true self. Remember, your core is connected to that universal light.
So anything opposite to that light isn't really me.
It's something asking to be transformed. If you feel fear when you try to be authentic or share genuinely, that fear is highlighting exactly where your opportunity for growth lies. It's pointing the way to your greatness.
So don't run from the weaknesses or faults.
No. Lean into them. That's how transformation happens. How do we know light? We know it because we also see darkness. Understanding comes from contrast.
Okay, so this week is about becoming authentic by taking back control.
Yes. Control from needing external things, respect, apologies, waiting for others to heal for you. Let go of the belief that someone else holds the key to your fulfillment.
But what if your partner, say, isn't interested in any of this growth stuff?
It's a common question, but honestly, no one can stop you from connecting to and revealing your light, your inner state, your energy. That's your responsibility.
So even if I feel disrespected, I should look inside first.
It's often the most powerful place to look. Is there an internal misalignment in me around self-respect, self-love? Aligning yourself internally with those universal principles often changes the dynamic externally, sometimes in surprising ways.
You see transformations just from one person doing their work.
Absolutely. Someone works diligently on their anger, and suddenly difficult relationships start to ease up, even without direct confrontation about the anger. The internal shift radiates outward.
And avoiding difficult conversations. Maybe we don't always need them.
Well, the wisdom suggests that something like 90–95% of conflicts can actually be resolved through your own internal work first.
Really? That high?
Yeah. Introspection, taking responsibility for your part, exploring your own insecurities that might be getting triggered. Doing that internal work can often dissolve the external tension without ever needing that big, potentially messy talk.
So shift the focus from trying to fix the other person or the external situation.
To looking inside. What are my worries, my needs, my fears, my insecurities? The work is internal.
And this week supports letting go of blame, fear, guilt, those external control.
Massively. Don't miss this window. You'll know you're transforming when you can think about past hurts or difficult people, and that old charge, that hatred or animosity just isn't there anymore.
Even if you never talk to them again.
Even then, feeling peace, maybe even compassion towards them, that's a huge sign of internal freedom. So yeah, audit your life. Where are the external leashes?
Okay, but what if looking inside just makes me feel bad about myself? Like, oh, great, another flaw.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
If you tend towards self-criticism, try to reframe it. Think of it like maybe a scavenger hunt or finding a leak in your house. If you find a leaky pipe, are you mad at the pipe?
No, I'm relieved I found it before it caused more damage.
Exactly. You find it, you fix it. You're glad you found it. Approach your inner work like that. Finding these leaks or cavities isn't proof you're faulty. It's an opportunity. It shows you where you can transform and elevate yourself.
So get excited about finding areas for growth.
Yes. Don't dread it. Each thing you uncover is a chance to reveal more of your light. The more you find, the more you can transform.
That's a much better way to look at it.
And for anyone wanting to dive deeper with daily practices, I really do recommend the book 365 Daily Messages for You. It's structured to give you those daily nudges, helping you connect with that inner light and handle life's stuff with more peace. The link's in the description.
Great. So wrapping up for this week, the key is really seizing this energy for internal work, right? Pause before reacting.
Choose your response from inner strength. Audit where you feel controlled externally.
Remember that sharing is your true essence, and that inner shifts create outer changes.
And approach it like that scavenger hunt, curious, not critical.
You can really move from being reactive to being in control, from being pulled around by externals to being authentically you, connected to that light.
Absolutely. Remember, you genuinely have the power within you to create change. This week, lean into that power, explore it, and unlock more of the authentic, powerful person you truly are meant to be.
And if you want to keep this journey going day by day, definitely check out the book 365 Daily Messages for You. It's a fantastic support. Again, the link is right there in the description.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the 365 Daily Messages for You podcast.
Thank you for listening to the 365 Daily Messages for You podcast. You can find the book 365 Daily Messages for You using the link in the description.
And one last time, if that book sounds helpful for daily support, 365 Daily Messages for You, the link's right below.
Thanks again for listening to the 365 Daily Messages for You podcast.